Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of AMZ's Corner. How you all doing out there? So it's a gorgeous rainy Sunday. I got nothing better to do but get some projects done here at the shop today. We got the old lady's Maxima, we got the rally wagon in here. We're not really going to be doing anything to the rally wagon because I still have to save up enough money to buy the parts I need to modify to make a lift kit for that. Just a tight time of the year for me right now. So I figured I'd come in and get this Honda CR-V with the blown head gasket at least broken down so we can see if we need a head or we can just replace the gasket, or if we have to shave the bottom of the head to make it flat again. That would be this CR-V right here. First gen CR-V. This will have the 2.0 liter, the B20 engine, twin overhead cam, non-VTEC. Get this thing, see, I can open this thing up without fumbling around. Now, last time you saw this truck, it was covered in shit. There was just some sort of animal made a nest in here, and giant, inch-long little footballs of crap all over the place. This spark plug valley here was all full right to the top, just crap everywhere. So I cleaned this thing off during the week, so I didn't have to deal with any of that stinking smell. But what happened with this truck is the radiator tank, one of these plastic tanks, cracked and let go. Just after we sold this to somebody. We sold this to a lady who wanted it for her daughter as their first car, and it's a great first car, all-wheel drive, automatic transmission, reliable and all that, but the radiator let go, and being a young driver, not knowing, she just kept driving it overheating. I guess maybe the mentality was, hey, it's overheating, that's something cars do. So they drove it until it completely overheated and the head gasket let go. So I'm going to pull it in today and just see how bad the cylinder head is. If we can save the head, now I got a flat bar that we check with a feeler gauge to see if there's any warpage on the head. If the head isn't warped and it's straight, then we could probably get away with just throwing a gasket onto it, and maybe we'll get that done today. But more likely what we're going to do with this today is we're going to get just the engine broken down. We're going to see exactly what failed in the head gasket and take a look at the head and see if it can be saved, and we're probably going to send the head out to have it machined and shaved, or we might just get a reman head. You can get a reman head for this B20 engine, $200-300 with the head gasket included. Considering a head gasket's like $100, I don't know how they make money on some of this stuff. So why don't I set you guys up to see just how smoky this thing is. We still got the negative camber Subaru Baja waiting for its subframe, so for now maybe we can set you guys up here while I see if this Honda's even going to run for me. So this should be interesting. Alright guys, I got this truck in here on the lift. Got the hood open wide. I got my my new micro lithium cordless LED light. I think kicks butt. Makes a lot of light on a project, but it does kill those micro lithium batteries pretty quick. But I got a half dozen or so of those. So anyways, here's what we got. The old Honda B20 motor, 2 liter, non-VTEC twin cam, timing belt engine, and we got to get this whole head off right down to the cylinder block down here. So yeah, let's take a quick look at a few things going on. No coolant. When I pulled this cap off, there was probably about 40 pounds of air pressure or combustion gases in the coolant system, so the cap just kind of flew off and almost hit the ceiling. Luckily it didn't get me in the face. I wasn't expecting that for how short of a time we ran this thing. So I got to take take the exhaust manifold has to come off of here, or everything on the front of the motor has to come off. The intake has to come off. I could probably leave the alternator and all that in there. Distributor has to come off, no big deal. So yeah, I think the best way to do this, because it's a lot of little bolts, and instead of having to jump cut edit this whole thing through, I think just gonna set you guys up on a time lapse over here and looks like all apart. Pry bar out of there. I was using that to hold the head up a little bit. I decided to leave the intake manifold attached to the head because there were 2 bolts under the 2 middle runners that were just impossible to get at. So for time's sake, I just left the intake on that, and I left the exhaust manifold. I was able to tease that out. But yeah, you can see all that friggin' nasty. I don't know what the heck was living in here, but man, that's some nasty shit right there, boys. Stinks. Definitely an odor to this job that I'm not going to soon forget. But yeah, this thing got pretty hot. This thing was full nuclear meltdown. I don't know if this block's going to be warped or not. It's an aluminum block, which you know, they can sometimes warp if you really overheat it. But yeah, that's what it looks like all apart. But let's go take a look at something over here that leads me to believe this thing might be in worse shape than it looks. This here is the lower timing cover. This is where the crank would come through, and the crank pulley harmonic balancer right there. You can see this bolt is still in because it melted and it's out of position now. You can see how they got so hot it melted the plastic on all these bolt holes. Now, being this way down on the block here, there are no coolant passages around this, so to get that block got so hot, an aluminum block got so hot, it melted these covers that aren't even near the coolant system. The lowest the coolant jackets might be in right about here, but all of this would be just the block shroud that holds the main bearings in, and there's no coolant passages, but it still got hot enough to melt the timing covers. This is the upper timing cover. This is where the cam sprockets would be, and you can see it's no longer flat. It's doing a wavy thing to it, and that got so hot that it melted and warped that cover too. So those are going to have to be replaced. Hopefully this motor is salvageable. One thing you guys might have noticed when I was taking these cam caps off, these are supposed to just lift right off the motor. Normally on any overhead cam engine, these just, as soon as you take these bolts out, these can just pull right out. I've never actually had these stuck in so bad that you couldn't get them out. That leads me to believe that the head over here, those would have bolted. Those would have bolted all in this. What was that? That's a plastic. Those would have bolted all into here. So in order for those to be so tight, that means this head must be warped a bit. So judging by how melted those covers are and how hard those cam caps came off, I'm going to say this head is probably as warped as it could get. Let's take a look at the gasket and see if we can see where it failed exactly. That might show us where we need to look at where it's warped most. Now, this would be the side that the block would bolt on, and it's more likely that the failure would have happened on the head side. So we're going to turn this over this way, and what we're going to look for is any place where combustion was getting through, like right there. Looks like we had some failure right there. You can see the black soot that goes from one cylinder to the other. Same with this one. So it looks like all 4 cylinders were blown by in the middle. So looks like these here would be oil passages, oil return passages, and this here would be the coolant jacket, these oval ports. So let's see if we can see anywhere where the oval ports. Now it doesn't look like the oval ports and the coolant let go into the cylinders, which I didn't think so because the engine didn't hydrolock. Usually when a head gasket fails the coolant jacket into the cylinders will fill up with coolant, and then, you know, coolant water doesn't compress and you'll have a locked up motor. So more likely what happened is the coolant jackets, being these clean ones, let go between there and these oil return. These triangles here would be for the oil return. So they mix coolant from the coolant jacket to the oil return. That would be these ovals to the triangles somewhere. So it looks like, I would say that middle cylinder right there looks like it let go pretty good. That looks pretty nasty. Yeah. And you guys can see all the milky oil. Another reason why you don't want to run with a head gasket, even though you might have a head gasket that the engine runs well, just burning some coolant or something, chances are that coolant's mixing with the oil, and that will, you know, spin a bearing, damage the cylinder sleeves, the piston rings, because that oil being contaminated with water just doesn't have the lubricity and viscosity it's supposed to have. So why don't we go grab the flat bar, the straight edge we got. Hopefully I can find it. Need a rag to get this sludge off. This here is basically, these are just a machined, perfectly flat bar that you put on a cylinder head, a block, any kind of flange to tell you if it's warped or not. You'll use this, and there'll be a spec for a feeler gauge. Let's see if we can see if this head survived. Oh yeah, it definitely did not. I don't know if you guys can see it or I can get you in the position, but yeah, it looks like this middle cylinder bridge right here, this area right here is definitely, I don't know if you guys can see the light coming through it. I mean, I don't even need a feeler gauge to tell you that, to tell me that that's pretty far off. I would say about, well, I'm not even going to try to guess, but it's more than we want to see. I go along the edge of the back edge of the cylinder block, and I can just see light right through that. I don't even think I have a feeler gauge that thick to see just how warped this poor head is. Yeah, this side here looks flat on that side, warped on that side. So it definitely doesn't look like this head's gonna work. I don't even think they could take that much off. I don't even have to measure it. That's probably one of the worst overheated engines I've ever had to take apart. I don't know if we're gonna be able to see on the block. Why don't we try? Just for shits and giggles. We'll probably end up sticking a cylinder head on this block anyway and crossing our fingers just because we're into the vehicle so much and it's already apart. But I don't know, this might just be more worth it just to get another motor. Well, this doesn't look as bad. I don't see any light coming through. Well, the block might be alright. I'm not going to pull out the feeler gauges and measure it well on camera. It's just, I don't think you guys will be able to see it, but I think the block might be alright. I think this one, we might be able to keep this one out of the cabbage, boys. Alright. So anyway, I think that's about it for today. Let me, my hands are, whatever. Yeah, so anyways, guys, yeah, it's, if your engine's overheating, don't keep driving. Just don't keep driving. You'll smoke your head. You can smoke your engine. I still can't believe just how hot these covers got to melt that plastic like that. But all right, guys, I gotta clean this thing up. I was hoping that head would be in a little better shape and we'd be able to throw a head gasket on it today. I mean, it's only 11, quarter past 11. Like I said, thumbs up are much appreciated. Comments are always read and enjoyed. And until next time, guys, keep it out of the cabbage.